name is Vivi, and I am the founder of an NGO called With Red and the Period Museum in Taiwan. I'm currently based in Edinburgh, London, and Taipei. So I kind of travel around the world to do menstrual advocacy work, and it's been a pleasure. It's been my life in the past 10 years being a menstrual activist and really just trying to push forward period equity, not just in Taiwan, my home country, but also everywhere around the world. And we predominantly focus on East and Southeast Asia. We've been doing quite a lot of different projects, ranging from all different kind of perspectives, and we sort of also recruit staff and partners from all different disciplines as well. So we've been doing projects related to, for example, education, public access to menstrual products, period poverty, as well as policy-wise policy makings or policy advocacies. So in terms of the people that we've reached has been more than hundreds of millions of people across Taiwan and East and Southeast Asia and also other countries in the world. We've been doing, for example, one of the really phenomenal kind of milestone last year was Taiwan become the first country in Asia to provide free period products on all campuses across the country. Policy has just started implementing last year, so the implementation has not been perfect, but now all the schools are obligated to have on campuses, going all the way from primary schools to universities. We've also changed more than 37 policies on local and national levels. Some of them are related to, for example, providing free period products in public places. Some of them are related to period education. We've also basically reformed the whole country's period education curriculum and the ways that people do period education. So in the past, although period education is kind of like compulsory, it's part of the compulsory curriculum. However, if we look at the actual reality, a lot of people has actually never experienced period education throughout their years and years of education. So what we wanted to change was looking at the root cause of it, looking at what's actually been lacking in the educational setting. And we realized that it was because teachers did not go through trainings and they did not have enough materials and also did not have enough time to talk about period, even though they're willing to teach in their classrooms. However, sometimes they just don't have enough support, material wise, but also support from the parents or support from the policies. So that's how we started to tackle this issue and then started to support teachers to be able to implement peer education in their educational settings. We're also promoting gender inclusive peer education, so ensuring that all different genders can participate in the peer educational courses together, as well as the educators themselves, because a lot of the times when we're talking about peer education, it's usually the female educator or the people who menstruate are talking about period, but we are also encouraging and training a lot of people who do not menstruate, so male teachers, educators, nurses, to also be the initiators of education, which has been never thought about it, but while they being the male educators start doing that in their classroom settings, that's actually been encouraging more and more people to join and also initiate more and more discussions and conversations about period in different kind of settings. We've also seen a lot of students coming to us saying that even though they do not menstruate, they also want to take care, they also want to be more empathetic towards people around them who are menstruating. So a lot of things are going on. If I want to talk about the advocacy project, I talk about like days and longs. But then, so these are predominantly like the things that we're doing. We're also doing a lot of research reports. We've also been collaborating with a lot of temples in Taiwan, because in Taiwan, a lot of people believe that if you're menstruating, then you're not allowed to participate in these religious practices, which most of the people in Taiwan, although we have multiple different kind of religions, but then a lot of people are actually believing in traditional beliefs or local religions. And those people who believe in the local religions, they thought they believe that they cannot enter temple, participate in these events if they're menstruating. But then actually after we collaborate with the temples and doing a lot of research, finding back to the root cause of it, we realized that it's more about the people that are restricting ourselves than the institutions or the temples or the religions that's actually having regulations related to it. So then we start advocating along with these temples or religious leaders and then start advocating within a community that you shouldn't be worried about participating in these religious belief if you even when you're on your period. Yeah, the lessons learned throughout my years of being a menstrual activist, definitely first one is valuing diversity, starting from recruiting young people from very different kind of backgrounds, so cultural backgrounds as well as professional backgrounds. We have people coming from public health backgrounds, but also from law, but also from social science, and then media. All different kinds of professions can actually be very, very important and valuable when you're doing advocacy work. Because what we're doing is we're talking about issues that are related to human rights, they're related to human beings. And when you're talking about something that's so closely related to human beings, you'd really, really need people from different kind of perspectives to start initiating the conversation and to tackle this issue from different angles. And people with different professional and cultural backgrounds can actually provide valuable insights when you're formulating a project or when you are trying to sort of formulate a discourse as well. So they can really provide all these insights that can sometimes actually sort of find a blind spot as well. So that's one thing that I definitely learned throughout my journey is these people's all different kind of diverse perspectives can be really, really important. But also the second lesson I think would definitely be do not restrict yourself before someone restrict you or before someone stop you, because I think one of the barriers or the challenges that we've seen as a menstrual activist throughout the way is that a lot of times we need to walk into a room or talk to a group of people that are not necessarily familiar with menstrual issues. I personally have a lot of experiences walking into a policymaking conference or like a meeting with policymakers who've never experienced talking about period policies in their past years and years of doing policy work. And at the beginning, a lot of the times I think it was myself that was very worried that people will not be able to understand me, or people will not care about something, or not are not aware of the issue or do not care about these issues. But then at the same time, I also realized that it's mostly about stepping out of your comfort zone, knowing that um as long as you're really passionate about it and you have your profession in it and you are able to discuss the importance of it to people, then definitely people will be touched by you and people will be convinced, and you will gather more and more people who believe in the same values and then wanted to do the work with you together, even though they might not have prior experience. But that's okay, because this is something that actually affects every one of us on the planet, and people are going to care as long as they know the importance of it. So I think definitely stepping out of comfort zones and do not sort of set all these boundaries and barriers in front of yourself before people put them in front of you. At Withred, would envision a world where period equity is a reality for all, is when, first of all, everyone can afford and access period products and wash facilities with dignified access to all these facilities and products. Second is definitely everyone can have access to gender inclusive and comprehensive period education, regardless of their socioeconomic backgrounds or regardless of their age and gender, or which community they belong to. Also, we envision a period equity world is where period stigma and period inequalities do not exist anymore. So they no longer exist, no longer stop anyone from participating in daily activities, events, regardless of any sort of different kind of things that people do on daily basis, basically. And also just although period can still sometimes makes people feel uncomfortable in terms of people having premenstrual syndrome or menstrual pain or other kind of symptoms. However, menstruation should no longer be a barrier to people's opportunity choices or well-being. And that's one of the things that we've been trying to work on, and definitely something that will be a reality, basic human rights that everybody enjoy when we are in a period equitable world. Very short, I became a menstrual activist since I got my first period. So it really was when I got my first period, I realized that my mom was trying really, really hard to explain what period actually is to me without using the word period. And then that got me really curious why my mom is a very outgoing person, and she's been always talking about everything really openly. But then when it comes to period, she was using hush hush tones and was really sort of like didn't know what to do when she was trying to explain to me. So then I went on to ask other people, are there any things they want to share about period? And realizing that people are so embarrassed talking about period, or people usually just talk to you saying, don't be too loud, don't talk about it in public, why are you bringing this up? And that really got me curious, what's the thing that's stopping them from talking about period? So it's their curiosity that drives me into knowing more about period. And the more I step into the period world, the more I got so interested and so fascinated by all these issues that are intertwined with menstruation. And then I started doing a lot of advocacy work. At the beginning, it really was just a side project. I was really a solo activist. Um, I just do whatever I can in all kinds of occasions. When I can talk about period, I start talking to people about period. But then there were just too many occasions, for example, when I was helping out with projects related to refugees for Syria and Afghanistan during the time when Syria war first broke out. I realized that when people are preparing resources for emergency settings, there weren't really people didn't really put period products as a necessity in emergency management plan. I also realized that in a lot of areas, regardless of the income of these countries, people actually experience period poverty, and these people are very, very close to us. It's not something that it only happens in the past. It happens right now, and people are facing that dilemma of choosing between um daily necessities and period products on monthly basis, and realizing more and more of being aware of more and more of these issues that are just literally right in front of us, or even we're part of it. For example, period stigma is something that we all experience, and lack of period education is something that I experienced growing up. I just thought of want to involve a little bit more, a little bit more. And when I moved to Scotland to study in the university, it was when Scottish Parliament was trying to push forward the Free Period Product Act. And I was so inspired, and I was fortunate enough to participate in some of the events as well, because being a student of University of Edinburgh, I had the privilege to participate and listen to so many different kind of discussions about it. And then one day in my dormitory, I just thought, I need to stop thinking and start doing something, because if I just keep on thinking, then I would never be able to actually change anything in my home country regarding to period. So then in my dormitory, I decided to start the organization. It really was starting up a Google Drive and a Notion page, and then started sort of just building up the blueprint of the blue picture of this organization. And I didn't know where I can get the fundings. I didn't know who I'm gonna reach out to be the staff members. But I just thought, I know where the end point is. I know how the end game is gonna look like, and we can build the road towards it on a way when we were marching towards it. So that's how I started. And then it's just been the past 5 years of my life working as a full-time menstrual activist. And it's been such a privilege. Every time I talk to people about what I'm doing and sharing about our work, it always reminds me of the privilege that I have being a menstrual activist, because I'm able to do something that I'm so passionate, and being able to have that as my work, and being able to really, because of this work, interact with people from all around the world who are sharing similar ideas and doing similar works is just such a privilege. And actually seeing the community that I'm in having all these societal changes happening, it's just also such a privilege to be part of it. I'm also really grateful for everyone who has supported us and stood with us along the way. And it's been an incredible journey, and we're looking forward to the next 10 years of working on it. And our biggest dream is definitely no need to work on it anymore. So we always tell ourselves that the best day of our life will be when one day we can confidently say we're retiring from this job because this world does not need with red at all anymore, because period equity is a reality for all already. And that's going to be the best day of our life. And that's going to be our end goal and our end game.